Jim, congratulations. Can
Thank
you
you.
sum up the last few days for us from your point of view and what your initial reaction was when you realised this could be a possibility?
Well, I had no real inkling about the job up until maybe about 48 hours ago. I spoke to the owners and spoke to the directors of the football club and gave them my thoughts on the situation. I had another opportunity 2 or 3 weeks ago to enter into discussions with another club, and I opted not to do that one. But for this particular situation with this football club and with this group of players, I believe that we can turn it around, and that's why I'm here. It would have been very easy for me to stay at home and keep my feet up until the summer and wait until another opportunity came up then. But I think this is a gamble worth taking. I think this group of players is far better than what they've shown up to now. I think everybody looking from the outside in is kind of scratching their heads as to why this particular group of players is in the position that it's in. And it's up to me now to try and restore some belief in them and to try and get a tune out of them over the next 12 games to make sure that we get the points required.
It's until the end of the season. Was that from the prompting from the club, from your end, a bit of both?
No, I think it's a situation that we're both very happy with. I mean, it's impossible for the club, I think, to be offering any long-term contract offers to players or managers at this particular moment in time. And for me, I'm quite comfortable with the situation. As I said, I back myself. It's a fantastic opportunity for me. Having left Aberdeen, a big club in the Scottish Premier League, to 4 or 5 weeks later to be offered the opportunity to come and manage another big club in the Scottish Premier League. I think it was too big an offer for me to turn down.
The final 10 games at Aberdeen were difficult. The last couple of games in particular, very difficult. How have you spent your time between leaving the club on that night at Easter Road and now?
Yeah, I mean, look, I've had plenty of time to reflect and look back on the situation at Aberdeen, and I think going into the World Cup break, everybody was very pleased with the situation. We were sitting third in the league table. We had a cup semi-final to look forward to in the new year. After the World Cup break, we had 2 extremely difficult fixtures back to back with Celtic and Rangers. Now, we could have easily taken 4 points from those 2 games. Lost a goal with the last 3 minutes to Celtic, and then 2 injury time goals against Rangers. I think that was probably the turning point for us in terms of the confidence being knocked from the squad, and we found it very hard then thereafter to get the lads going again. There's been a lot of small margins in a lot of the games at Aberdeen. There a lot of games that could have swung either way. We didn't carry a great deal of luck at that particular moment in time, but I think it's one horrendously bad week that has cost me my job at Aberdeen. And we had a really poor performance at Tynecastle, got heavily defeated there. The Darvel game, of course, was a real cop upset and a shock to everybody. And then following that up with the heavy defeat at Easter Road, I think it was inevitable what the outcome was going to be after that particular game. So that one hard week has cost me my job at Aberdeen, unfortunately, but I've been given the opportunity here at Dundee United to make amends, and that's the way I look at it, and that's the way I want the players to look at it as well. I want to forget whatever has happened in the past up to now this season. I want them to focus on the next dozen games and restore some pride in themselves and in this great football club.
Hi Jim, how tough a 5 weeks has it been since then? Because obviously it was a turbulent end to Aberdeen, and how much do you feel ready now to get back into management? Because obviously it hasn't been a long time.
Yeah, I mean, look, the initial reaction after parting ways with Aberdeen was one of real disappointment. There was no anger on my part. I absolutely loved my time at the club, and even the difficult times after the World Cup. There's some fantastic people there at Aberdeen behind the scenes. I had great relationships with a lot of them, some really good players as well. A lot has been said about losing the dressing room and this and that. I don't believe that for a minute. I had a number of senior players phoning the directors and phoning the chairman and pleading my case in that last week, albeit it didn't show in the performances. But I do still believe to this day that the players were behind me. The majority of them definitely were. But yeah, I mean, look, obviously I've reflected on things and what could I have done differently. I don't think we would have enough time here now to talk about all of that, but there's certainly learnings that I've taken from that experience that I hope that I can take into this particular opportunity and further afield as well, that will help make me a better manager. But I want to go on the record and say that I've got nothing but the utmost respect for the people at Aberdeen. I know the chairman is going through has went through an operation recently, and I wish him nothing but well. I dropped him a message last week, and he, for what he's put into Aberdeen, deserves success from that club. And it was a great time in my short managerial career, and one that I do look back on with some fond memories, but of course, real disappointment that I wasn't able to bring success to the club. But now that's in the past for me. I can't dwell on that. I've got to now look at what's most important for the here and now. The short-term objective is keeping Dundee United in the Premier League.
Are you surprised at how quickly you've come back into management and that you're here at Dundee United, and as fate would have it, going up against Aberdeen this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, look, you're never too surprised in this game, to be honest, because some strange things do happen. As I said, I was quite comfortable being back at home again. My family are based in Glasgow. My wife and 3 kids have been living most of the week without me during I spent my time at Aberdeen. So it was lovely to be at home, being able to do the school run and pick the kids up, and me taking responsibility away from my wife in terms of all the different clubs that they all go to in the evenings. But I'm not great at sitting around and doing nothing during the day. The first week was okay. The second week I really started to get itchy feet, and then you start to miss it again, and you lose that bug at the weekend. It's hard to explain to people who haven't been in this position, but that adrenaline rush that you get on a match day, that excitement and the build up to the game, is something that I really started to miss. And I wasn't planning on coming back in before the summer, but as I said, this is far too big a club and far too good an opportunity for me to turn down.
What does this do, Jim, for your belief that 6 weeks ago you left Aberdeen in a really low point, but since then you've not had one but 2 clubs come to you who have confidence in your ability?
Yeah, I mean, look, obviously it's always nice when anybody out there shows that belief in you as a person, and regardless of what industry you're in or what occupation you've got, for people to put their trust in you to be the one to turn a difficult position around is of course, it's nice. I think I proved at St Mirren during that 2.5 years there that we were never fighting up near the top end of the table. It was always a case of trying to stay in the Premier League and trying to push for that top 6. So I've been in this situation where I've had to dig out results and grind out results before. I think people in the game recognise that we've done a lot of good things at Aberdeen. People who understand the game can see, prior to Christmas it was only Celtic and Rangers who had scored more goals than my Aberdeen team. As I said, we were sitting third on the table. We had a dreadful week, and I hope that my career up to now won't be judged on what happened in that last 7 days, because that's not the case, and that's not what I want to be remembered for. So I'm delighted that the people here at Dundee United have put their trust in me to be the man to turn things around here. There's still a hell of a lot of football to be played this season. 36 points up for grabs, and we need to go and try and get as many of those on the board as possible to give ourselves a fighting chance of staying up.
How do you beat Aberdeen on Saturday?
Well, I should know, shouldn't I? No, look, the Aberdeen boys, again, I've had so many messages from the players who are up there, from all of the backroom team as well. Lots of laughing and joking about this being the first game that we're back together again. But I left on great terms with them all, and I've got the utmost respect for that squad of players as well. And I know their strengths, and hopefully I'll be able to pick holes in 1 or 2 of their weaknesses as well. It's all about Dundee United now from here on in. Love my time at Aberdeen, great respect for everybody involved with the club, but there's a job to do here, and my job is to go and try and beat them.
12 games, is it long enough, do you think?
I think so, yeah. I wouldn't be here otherwise, Brian. As I said, I think it would have been the easy decision just to stay in the house and to look at summer holidays online and decide where we're going to go, and maybe go and get a few rounds of golf in, which I was actually really looking forward to doing next month when the weather picks up. But no, I love this game too much. it's a real privileged position to be in, to have played professional football for a living, and now being paid to manage a team of this ilk. It's it's an absolute privilege and a pleasure, and I don't want to be out of the game ever again on those kind of terms, and I think there's plenty of time left. I wouldn't be sat here otherwise.
Jim, what's your initial assessment of the Dundee United players? You haven't had a lot of time to work with them, obviously. What are your initial impressions?
I think that there are probably 4 or 5 teams in the league at the moment currently that would look at our squad of players and would take a number of those players from this squad into their squad, and it would enhance their team. From an outsider looking in, when I was at Aberdeen, and I'm pretty sure a number of other people were the same, and maybe you guys in the media were the same, when you look at the squad of players on paper, I think we were all scratching our head as to how those international quality players could be in this position. But sometimes it's hard to put your finger on it. I think there is a real lack of confidence. I said to the guys this morning, there are lots of good individuals within the group, but what they haven't shown this season is how they can all come together collectively as a team and work for each other, and that's something that we have to get right, and there has to be an instant reaction. I think there's some real good experience within the group, some players who have played at a really high level, who have been there and done it all before, and I think they're the ones in the squad that the rest of the group are looking to now. And I spoke to those players last night on the phone and said exactly what I'm saying to you now. They need to lead the dressing room. They need to be the ones that are setting the examples in training and during the day, and they're the ones that need to drag the rest of the group along with them, along with me and the rest of the backroom team, to just make sure that we get every last ounce of energy out of the guys on a match day. And all any supporter wants to see, and we're all supporters of one team or another, but all you want to see from your team is passion and desire and 100% commitment, and that's all I'm asking of the players. There's nothing fancy about what we're trying to do here. We want to be organised, we want to be hard to beat, and of course we want to have an attacking threat as well with some of the good quality players that we have, but we want to show the supporters that we're passionate and we're going to do everything we can for the cause.
And what gives you the confidence in this short space of time you can help a turnaround that will keep them up?
I believe in that group. It's as simple as that. I believe I've inherited a very, very good squad, and I think there's 2 managers lost their jobs this season at this club, and I think the players have got a sense of guilt how that has happened. It's always the manager who eventually falls on the sword, because it's a lot easier to get rid of one man as opposed to get rid of 20. But I do think the players that are there take responsibility. I think they're all honest enough to look in the mirror and take their accountability for what's happened, and I think they're desperate to make amends, they're desperate to put things right, they're desperate to show the supporters that this actually does mean something to them, and we've all got to now start pulling in the right direction, and the players have got an opportunity over the next 12 games to make amends, to restore some pride, and to ensure that this club remains a Premier League club next season.
And Saturday should be something else. United against Aberdeen. What sort of game can you expect?
Listen, I think it's going to be an extremely difficult game for both teams. I don't think Aberdeen will be thinking they're going to come down the road and have an easy game. I think it's, as I said, 2 teams with very good individuals that probably haven't been consistent enough this season. I'm expecting a game full of blood and thunder, and that's what I'm hoping for, to be honest with you. I'm hoping for my team, Dundee United, to show the level of aggression and the level of desire required to grind out the result, and I think we've got enough in the ranks to do that.
And a hot reception from the Red Army?
Yeah, I tend to get a hot reception wherever I go. I'm expecting a hot reception from the Dundee United fans as well. So there's not many places I can go in this country, unfortunately, and get applauded onto the park. So maybe St Mirren is one of them, albeit I don't know after the last 12 months whether I'm welcome back there either. But look, that's football. All I would ask the Dundee United supporters to do is to come and support their team. There's generations of Dundee United fans coming to the game on Saturday, who will be here for tens and tens of years after I go. So just come and get behind your team, come and drive the boys on, give them that encouragement and that positive vibes that they need to enable us to get the result that we need to get things back on track. And to the Aberdeen fans, you know, I would like to thank them for the support during my time up there. You know, they were great for me, I have to admit, and they're one of the best travelling supporters that I've seen in the league this season. They travel in unbelievable numbers. You know, whatever reaction they give me, it's neither here nor there. I just hope they know that I've done my best for the club, and unfortunately wasn't good enough at it. All right.